Welcome to Cinegeeks, the ultimate podcast para sa mga movie buffs, TV enthusiasts at pop culture aficionados. I'm Angela.
And ako naman si Roy. Samahan niyo kami as we journey through the awesome world of movies and beyond.
So kung ikaw ay isang true blue cinephile or just a casual fan, this is the podcast for you. We'll talk about the latest blockbusters, yung mga classics from yesteryears, and yung mga movies na merong super special na place in our hearts and screens.
Paminsan-minsan, we'll talk about news related to movies and TV shows, including behind-the-scenes tidbits and reviews, and magkakaroon din tayo ng hopefully friendly debates about these movies and TV shows that we love.
So if you're looking for movie and TV show recommendations, trivia, or gusto mo lang makadinig ng kwentuhan about all things geek, tune in to Cinegeeks, where the silver screen and love for all things geek collide. Episode 1. Welcome to our very first episode.
Episode 1. Woo!
Finally, after years and years and years of talking about starting a podcast, finally.
Nakapagsimula din tayo.
Oo, finally.
Sa sobrang daming delay, ang daming nagka-pandemic, kung ano na nangyari, finally, we're talking about movies in our very own podcast.
Yes, pangarap lang natin to.
And pasensya na po kung medyo marami pa kaming dead air. Episode 1. Again, episode 1.
Disclaimer. Meron tayong disclaimer sa first episode natin na please bear with us because we're still learning the ropes.
Pero hopefully, you join us in whatever we're doing. Kasi patagal na kaming fans ng movies in general, TV shows din. And we love to listen to podcasts as well. I mean, hindi naman tayo magsisimula ng podcast kung hindi din tayo fan ng podcasting as well. So, we've been inspired by so many podcasters, YouTubers, and other content creators around the world of movies na have inspired us to want to talk about movies and start this for ourselves.
Yes. Without further ado, let's start with our very first movie.
Actually, bago tayo magano ng movie natin, gusto ko lang i-point out to. This actually just got posted an hour ago by Tom Cruise on his Facebook page. And I know people have varying opinions about him. Some people love him, some people don't love him. Pero one thing you can't deny is that he loves to make movies, he loves to watch movies. So, nag-post siya, and I quote, "This summer is full of amazing movies to see in theaters. These are just a few that we can't wait to see on the big screen. Congratulations, Harrison Ford, on 40 years of Indiana Jones and creating one of the most iconic characters in cinema history. You have given us countless hours of joy. I love a double feature, and it doesn't get more explosive or more pink than one with Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer and Greta Gerwig's Barbie." And merong picture doon sa post niya na may mga tickets silang hawak. Kasama, actually, hindi na siya. Kasama niya si Christopher McQuarrie, yung director his director. Actually, yung kanyang long-time collaborator niya.
Sa Mission Impossible.
And actually, hindi na Mission Impossible, kahit yung yung Valkyrie. Yan. Although, iba yung director, pero ang kanyang nickname in the industry si McHugh.
Okay.
Yan, so,
did he also direct Top Gun?
Hindi. Writer lang siya dun.
Pero still a collaborator.
Oo. I mean, yung fingerprints pa rin niya is all over the movie. Pero yan, may picture silang dalawa, si Tom tsaka si McHugh, na may mga tickets silang hawak in front of posters for Indiana Jones, Oppenheimer, and Barbie. Say what you will about the man, pero he is a walking reminder of the love for movies talaga. So,
and watching movies in the theaters. That's what he's promoting.
Yun yung tama ka, yun yung pinaka-important na part nun eh. Kasi, I mean, we can't deny that we live in the age of streamers. Kamay at maya, meron diyang Netflix, merong Amazon Prime, may Disney Plus, may HBO Go, or Max, stateside.
Amazon, meron na ring Peacock.
Yan, I mean, states, ganun. Wala pa naman dito sa atin nun, pero soon, hopefully. Pero, alam mo yung parang nadadilute na yung movie experience kasi people have been trained so much to just enjoy movies in their homes. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you have limitations that prevent you from going to the theater, then more power to you, enjoy the movies at home.
I think this was prevalent lang naman during the pandemic kasi we were all stuck in our homes. So, of course, to avoid the cinema industry from dying, they released their movies sa streaming apps. So, that's where it started. They made movies for the streaming apps. And now that the pandemic is slowly, going into an endemic na lang.
Mm-hmm.
So, parang binabalik lang siguro nila yung going to the theaters because there's no need to just stay on streaming anymore.
And I mean, siguro as Filipinos, we love to be entertained. We love to watch live entertainment. We love to watch movies.
So earlier we watched Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Yes.
On the first day and also a holiday here in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
So maraming tao, medyo puno yung sa cinema namin.
And I guess we can say that we did Tom Cruise proud, that punong-puno yung sinyahan natin kanina. Pero we'll talk about attendance and what it means for the industry in general in a future episode.
Yeah.
Just for today, we're gonna talk about the movie we saw. Again, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, stars Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Still as Indiana Jones.
Yes.
But this time, kasama niya si Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah, from
Fleabag,
yeah.
And resident bad guy of Hollywood these days, Mads
Mikkelsen, yeah. AKA Hannibal.
Yes. So, this movie is about to release pa lang this Friday, stateside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The movie is projected to do $140 million in the box office sa kanila. Do you think that the movie will still, or that the franchise itself in general still has that cultural foothold? And I guess you're the perfect person to ask about this kasi mas ikaw yung newbie sa franchise na to eh.
True. But when I was growing up, I was a big fan of the Mummy films. Okay, Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz. So, dahil dun sa movie na yon, sobrang hilig ko dun sa mga archaeology movies na that came after. Like, yung kay Nicolas Cage.
Yes. National Treasure.
Ooh, yung
super
mga
classic.
Yeah, pero ayun nga because I love these films since I was a kid. Meron akong bias dun sa Indiana Jones even though I did not watch the entire film catalog.
Yung entire franchise.
Kasi ang napanood ko lang is yung one. Pero what I can definitely say about this movie is you don't have to watch the other films to understand and to appreciate this one. Okay? No spoilers about it.
May facts here and there, siguro venturing into spoiler territory na yan, that maybe you would appreciate or at least understand kung ano yung sinasabi if you saw everything.
Yeah.
Pero hindi siya ganun ka-dependent na panoorin mo yung all four Indiana Jones films that came before it. Eh. You can just go in with very, very stock knowledge about the franchise in general.
Yes.
And you'll still have a good time. I had a good time. Ikaw, what about you?
I did enjoy the movie. Even if I did not see or I did not, siguro maraming mga Easter eggs doon. And I did not recognize them if there were any, if there were a lot. Pero nga, yun nga I'm very happy na hindi for entry-level fans ma-appreciate niya because hindi siya katulad nung parang reference after reference after reference like yung Star Wars Force Awakens na you don't even know why people are cheering around you. Hindi ko naman naramdaman yun while I was watching kanina.
Tama. Yeah, buti you touched upon yung comparison mo with itong Indiana Jones 5. Sige, well, just for shorthand, yun na lang. Indy 5.
Okay.
Yan. Na yung kinampare mo yung Indy 5 to Force Awakens, Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Which is talagang filled to the brim.
Yes.
With Easter eggs, with parang yung, alam mo yung meme ni DiCaprio sa yung yung movie niya ni Tarantino, which is yung Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yung nakatungos sa TV.
Yung ni-slap niya yung table, tapos nag-point siya.
You know, it's me.
Yeah.
Yun, parang ganun eh. Puro siya ganun eh.
Puro siya parang, I understood that reference.
Oo. Yun. Tama yun. Parang siyang mayat-maya may ganun. And if I may, yung dalawang yun, you can actually consider them. Actually, you can eh. They're considered yung legacy sequels.
Yes.
Which is all the rage these days for both the right and wrong reasons.
There are a lot. No?
Well, kasi, I mean, I would say the right reasons na dumadami siya ngayon kasi we as as human beings, we love stories.
Yes.
We love to hear stories continue. We love to know what happens to our heroes. Pero ako personally, I would say na ayoko naman sabing bad. Kasi there are, if not the majority of them, I enjoy naman. Pero you can say na with almost every other movie coming out, sequel ng isang scene na ginawa 30, 40 years ago, nawawala na yung parabang originality.
And not just movies. Also in TV, di ba? Ang dami-daming mga reboot, mga soft reboot, mga continuation, and mga spin-offs. It's like people are doing rehash after rehash of previous IP from decades ago. Yun na nga kasi katulad ngayon, I think this has to do a lot about nostalgia. Kasi kahit yung mga original shows, ang setting nila is 80s, 90s. It's always going back. We're not making movies from our generation anymore. We're always paying tribute or reminiscing the previous decades.
Pero you can also parang point to the fact na, yun nga, you brought up nostalgia. People love to go back to familiar things. They love watching things that make them feel warm and fuzzy, or bring them back to a time in their life na whatever positive or even negative memories get, evoked by this IP. So, hindi mo din mabiblame yung audience for flocking to these movies or watching these shows on TV or sa mga streamers. Pero yun na nga the fact that the audience who has, voted for these movies, so to speak, with yung pera nila, yung ano ba yung mga tumitiba sa box office ngayon?
Marvel.
Yung mga Marvel. Well, I mean, talking about yung mga legacy sequels.
That's another episode.
Yes.
The Marvel movies.
Superhero genre.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about that very, very soon.
Yes, stay tuned.
Pero going back, yung legacy sequels then are a huge hit nowadays. Top Gun Maverick, a sequel to a movie from the 80s, made almost $1.5 billion worldwide. The fact that Top Gun Maverick grossed $1.5 billion at least last year meant that people either, just yung in-enjoy nila yung military aspect of it, or they just enjoyed seeing Maverick and company again. And nakakatawa nga dun kasi, yung sa Top Gun Maverick, the only connection that the movie had to the past is, spoilers for a movie that's been out for
a year?
Almost a year.
Yeah.
Was they were able to come up with a very, I wouldn't say original, kasi I'm pretty sure na it's derivative of something. I'm just not sure of what ngayon.
Of the previous Top Gun movie?
Yeah, I guess you can say that. Yeah, actually, sige. There are beats na talagang inulit lang niya. Pero there was a certain freshness to it that didn't feel na you were just watching Top Gun 1 again. Actually, if anything pa nga, it felt like it was the movie Top Gun was supposed to be.
What I love about Indiana Jones, going back to our movie, is that you don't need to watch the previous movies to appreciate its story. It can stand alone. It can stand on its own. Even Phoebe Waller-Bridge did not come from a movie from the previous movies, di ba?
Ano sila?
Original
wholly
character
original character siya.
Even Toby Jones, di ba? So, yeah. Are we gonna go into spoilers?
Siguro before we go to spoilers, let's just say right now if we liked it, if we can recommend it or not. Ako, I can say na I recommend it, even if sinasabi ng mga ibang movie people that we read or we listen to, of course, they say na parang it's it doesn't feel it feels too original, parang wala siyang connection to the past. Okay. Yeah, tama ka nga na it as long as Harrison Ford is Indiana Jones, it doesn't matter who he's with as long as he's on an adventure. Ako, tawagin mo na akong mababaw. Tawagin mo na akong easily impressionable. Pero as long as I can see that he's still cracking that whip and having fun, which is, I mean, for an 80-year-old is still evident.
At saka, it followed the same formula because it works. Diba? If it's not broke, then no need to fix it.
Tama.
Kaya, Indiana Jones can speak to this generation, yung Gen Z and the like. Kasi nga, this now is a standalone movie that can excite you. Medyo, naman siya, hindi siya boring.
Hindi siya boring. Although, hindi ko naman tatawaging perfect movie siya. By no means. And we'll get to why in a bit.
Yeah.
Because the movie goes bat crap crazy.
Yeah, which is
talaga.
Exciting. Actually, I appreciated it. As a big fan of films being having unexpected turns, gusto ko yun. Gusto ko yun kasi hindi siya predictable. I like that in a movie.
So, it's a recommendation from us both.
Yes.
And we'll tell you in more, detail now. So, spoiler warning.
Spoiler.
Anyone who has not seen Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. 3, 2, 1. I will talk about that ending. We can't start to talk about Indiana Jones without talking about that crazy what the F ending.
Yeah.
Kasi, sa akin sige, yung last Indiana Jones, hindi napanood ko yun.
Yeah.
Yung Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Sige, enlighten us about the story.
Sige.
Ito ba yung kay Shia LaBeouf?
Shia LaBeouf, yes. So, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, basically, Indiana Jones gets...
Spoiler again.
Yes, spoiler for a 17-year-old movie.
17?
My God, it's almost old enough to vote, that movie. Okay, so Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, basic summary for a 17-year-old movie. Okay. Indiana Jones is called to basically find a crystal skull, literal. And ang ending, yung crystal skull pala na yun, bungo ng alien.
Okay,
yan.
wow.
So, exactly. So,
it's a jump.
It's crazy. A lot of people hate it. I know for a fact that it's one of the most despised movies of all time. Pero, how old was I in 2006? I was 13 years old. And
did you like it when you watched it?
No, I loved it. It's para siyang, my first Indiana Jones movie, and it was amazing. It was crazy. Yun. Siguro yung Temple of Doom, mas nagustuhan siya kasi crazy dark siya. Na talagang, wow, they went there. Pero yung...
Pang-ilan to dun sa mga movies ng Indiana Jones?
Yung
Yung Temple of Doom?
Pangalawa.
Okay.
Tapos
siya yung 2, Indiana Jones 2.
Yung Indiana Jones 3, yung The Last Crusade, yun naman, gusto naman siya ng karamihan or the majority of the people because it's a warm, fuzzy adventure. It's about Indy and his dad. And his dad is played by Sean Connery. Yan,
flashback naman, parang prequel.
Actually, prequel yung, nakakatawa nga kasi yung Indiana Jones 1, which is yung Raiders of the Lost Ark.
That I saw.
Pinanood natin yun. Standalone adventure siya. Yung Indiana Jones 2, yung Temple of Doom, actually happens before Raiders.
Ooh.
It's a prequel.
Okay.
Yon. Tapos, mas kasunod. So, technically speaking, ang chronology nung series is 2, 1, 3, 4, 5.
So, yun lang yung, out of the,
Yung 2.
sequential order.
Tama. Yan. Pero, sige, going back, I wouldn't say na yung twist nitong 5 is as crazy as 4. Kasi yung 4 talagang parang naubusan na lang sila ng idea kung paano tatapusin yung scene.
Too sci-fi na ba siya?
Siguro.
Or was it parang the twist does not make sense? Or hindi siya earned?
Hindi naman hindi earned kasi pwede namang maging archaeological discovery ang aliens for a movie franchise about archaeology. Pero I would say na it's not what people were expecting. Kaya alien. Kasi diba, hindi naman usually aliens ang nahahanap in archaeology.
Yes.
Itong
twist... we never know.
True. Pero itong twist dito sa 5, na actually hindi nga twist yung parang yung crazy ending niya was so yung bad guy played by Mads Mikkelsen, hanggang hindi ko pa rin unintelligible yung pangalan niya sa akin kanina pa. We'll call him bad guy na lang.
Basta Schmidt lang yun na ko.
Yun, yung kanyang American name yung naalala ko pero si bad guy na lang. Okay, so the ending of Indiana Jones 5, itong si bad guy nakuha niya yung Dial of Destiny, yung titular thing na hinahabol nila. Ngayon, itong thing na to, pwede pala siyang magbukas ng time and space portals sa isang thunderstorm or whatever. Now, ang gustong gawin ni bad guy, gusto niyang bumalik in time to, correct me if I'm wrong gusto niyang i-usurp si Hitler. Gusto niyang siya yung maging boss nung mga Nazi. Diba? Tama ba?
Oo, kasi sinabi niya, will kill the Führer.
Oo, parang ganon. Ngayon, imbis na pumunta sila doon sa date na sinabi niya, parang 1933 ba yun?
1939.
1939. Napunta sila way, way, way back to ancient Greek times na may yung nakasakay sila sa isang eroplano, gusto sana niyang mag-land sa Germany. Kapag daan nila doon sa parang time portal na binuksan nila or nahanap nila because of the Dial of Destiny. Tapos, pagpasok nila doon sa portal na yon, biglang, boom, naglalaban yung mga Romans and mga Greeks. As in, literal na Romans and Greeks. Hindi siya yung parang, alternate dimension. Hindi, nag-go back in time sila. Yung buong scene was leading up to the reveal of what the dial can do. And ako personally, since kung i-compare ko siya sa Kingdom of the Crystal Skull na ang ending is, wait, what? Aliens? Yun lang pala yun. Parang ito, mas inventive siya, mas related sa archaeology. And since the whole movie, hindi naman the entire movie, may parang constant na reverence towards what Archimedes has done for toward history, how he has inspired so many things, na nakakatuwa lang na meet actually ni Indiana Jones si Archimedes, and gusto niya parang magstay kung hindi siya pinigilan yung character ni Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Ako, having seen both, I can say na parang it's gonna be more palatable. There are people who are going to hate the twist or this ending, as usual, kasi you can't please everybody nowadays. Pero ako, I found it okay. It wasn't offensive. It was actually clever. And nakakatawa lang na yung may part doon na nung paglabas nila ng time portal, tapos nung nakita ni Mads Mikkelsen na, wait, what? Puro Romans and Greeks? Tapos yung mukha ni Harrison Ford, parang siyang, mali yung pinagsakan mo. Mali yung time natin. Parang ganun siya.
And physics-wise, it makes sense kasi the reason why nagkamali sila ng trajectory was because of tectonic shifts.
Yun. Naging ano pa rin siya. Naging true to parang having knowledge be an important part of, the story itself. Hindi siya yung parang hinugot lang out of thin air yung resolution or what.
It actually makes sense. Kaya satisfying yung twist. Especially if you're a huge science geek. I'm just so happy na hindi siya nagstay dun sa time, hindi sila nag-give in dun sa parang romanticism na, no, I wanna die here like a martyr, parang ganon. Kasi tama tama yung character ni Phoebe Waller-Bridge na you would mess with history if you stay there.
Tama. Kasi yung yung character ni Phoebe Waller-Bridge by the name of Helena Shaw, who is the daughter of Indiana Jones's friend in the movie, played by Toby Jones. Yung mission niya, yung makuha yung Dial of Destiny kasi nga isang obsession yun ng father niya from way, way back.
And I'm glad na kasi, diba, Toby Jones, the character na friend ni Indy during the beginning of the movie, na they started this whole story dun sa, basta yung Dial of Destiny, may name Antikythera. That's the first time they met Mads Mikkelsen back in 39.
Wait, 39 ba yun? Yung ending, yung end
basta
of the war?
Nandun sila sa Nazi camp, dun sa train. That's where they met, and Toby Jones, having encountered the Antikythera, became obsessed with it. So, that's why Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, yung daughter ni Toby Jones, Helena Shaw, pursued the Antikythera kasi nga, that's what drove her father crazy. And yung ending na they were able to travel back in time using the Dial of Destiny, and she proved that her father's obsession with it and what Toby Jones discovered about the relic was real. She still was not parang victimized by the mysticism of the relic.
Siguro I wouldn't say naman na parang siguro yung obsession ni Toby Jones, by the way, who's named Basil Shaw, yung pangalan niya sa movie.
Baz, yun yung
yun yung nickname tawag sa kanya ni Indiana Jones, si Baz. Yung mas more obsessed siya about preventing what the Dial of Destiny can do, what the Antikythera. Pero di ba yung Antikythera parang siyang yun yung pangalan lang nung one half of it, kasi may pangalan yung isa pa yung other half that they're also looking for. Kasi at the start of the movie, tama ka, they were in
Nazi camp.
Nazi. Actually 1944 during the Allied liberation of Germany. Initially, yung gusto nilang kunin lang was yung Spear of Destiny.
Yeah.
Yung allegedly.
The spear that pierced Jesus Christ.
During the crucifixion, tama. Pero ending nun, fake pala yung meron doon. And nalaman nila na yung hawak ni Mads Mikkelsen na artifact is much more important, which is one half of the Dial of Destiny. Yan, the Antikythera, according to history, to lore daw, could manipulate, not really manipulate it, it can open up or lead you to a time and space portal. Yan,
yeah.
and parang it
fissure of time.
Yan, time fissure, yes, thank you. In the wrong hands, of course, the bad guy's hands will result in very, very bad things happening. So, ang obsession ni Baz was to have it destroyed. Gusto niyang mawala for good yung Antikythera. Pero, Indiana Jones, being the artifact collector he is, hindi niya sinira. Naglalay siya doon sa friend niya na hindi na nga, na mentally fragile na nga to begin with, as well as Helena Shaw, Baz's daughter, that we learn is actually his goddaughter.
I think that was already revealed in the trailer.
Oo, ayun nga pala, tama. Ngayon, initially yung meet up nilang dalawa na magtito, parang pinakita na
magninong.
Magninong pala, sorry, magninong. Tama, sorry, magninong. Na parang cordial, genial. Tapos ang ending itong si Helena is parang the capitalist version of him na kumukuha ng artifacts pero hindi nilalagay sa museum. Binibenta lang niya.
She's in it for the money.
True. Kasi I don't think na dahil lang para dun sa pera, although yun din yung certainly yung parang what the movie implies. Pero I think you can also say na there was some level of resentment from her towards people like Indiana na get these artifacts for safekeeping in museums, especially dahil itong specific na artifact na to, sinabi niya, sisirain niya. Dahil nga doon sa nakita niyang effect doon sa tatay niya. But he ended up lying to her.
I don't think that's it. I think siguro she was just, she looked at it strictly from a business perspective. Mm-hmm. Kasi nga, she's not the noble desk kind of person, 'di ba? Sabi niya.
Mm-hmm.
So, parang nag-ano lang siguro siya na kasi maybe she was orphaned at an early age. So, she had to provide for herself. Naging parang fugitive siya and thief. Mm-hmm. So, it's just coming from the perspective of a thief.
True.
So, she's just not like Indy or her father.
Mm.
So, I think that's what parang yung contrast ng character niya tsaka ni Indy.
Mm.
As far as the, parang altruism goes.
Merong mga countless, actually hindi mga countless, parang dalawa lang naman yung nabilang ko, na cameo related to his past. Si John Rhys Davies comes back as Salah, yung kanyang best friend.
From the first movie. And I'm glad na parang in passing lang siya. Hindi na siya sumama. And it made sense na hindi na siya isama kasi nga he has a family.
True.
Indy doesn't want to put him in danger.
Mm.
So, he went alone. Tapos, yung towards the end na, at meron pa bang iba?
Isip ko nga
I was surprised actually dun sa boat guy kasi di ba hindi naman si Antonio Banderas yun?
Actually, yun yung nakakatawa kanina kasi di ba sinabi na okay, magkakaroon ng kailangan nilang puntahan yung shipwreck
yung
ng mga
Syracuse
Romans.
Ba yun?
Yung malapit sa Syracuse.
Mm.
Or hindi, nasa Greece pa lang tayo. Wala pa tayo sa Sicily.
Yeah.
Yung may kailangan i-dive na shipwreck na kung nasan yung hindi yung other half parang merong dial, may parang cipher ba?
Parang, nandun yung code.
Oo, yung kung saan pupunta para doon sa other half.
Yes.
Na kailangan i-dive nila. Na ang unang pumasok sa isip ko nung sinabing gano'n, ay, yung boat captain na nag-rescue dapat sa kanila.
From the first movie
Okay. Tapos biglang si Antonio Banderas. But actually, sige, this is not going to be all glowing, about Indie 5. If I'm gonna say na there are things I didn't like about it, siguro yung cameo appearance, hindi nga siya enough to be a role eh. Cameo appearance lang siya ni Antonio Banderas as another friend of Indiana Jones. Na it could have been somebody unknown. Para hindi naman sa hindi inconsequential. Siguro kaya nila kinast si Banderas doon. Kasi alam nilang mamamatay.
Or to have a familiar face there lang. Parang for, I don't know. I actually don't know. Kasi parang, okay, he helped. He was, siguro, I think, the movie wants us to really see kung yung mga casualties ng mga missions ni Indy has faces and names that we should care about.
Ang akala
and
ko
yun
nga.
yung lesson kay Phoebe Waller-Bridge, kay Helena Shaw na parang she was victorious after parang nakatakas sila, 'di ba, dun sa boat. Tapos parang nagse-celebrate siya pero ang sabi ni Indy, my friends were murdered. Why are you parang gloating right now?
Tama.
It's not just about the money for Indy. And I think yun yung parang nare-realize ni Helena Shaw. From having spent this time with Indy, yung values.
Oo. Pero yun lang, nasasayangan lang ako na they cast a very, very big name actor for a very, very short role. Ang akala ko pa nga una na kasi, I mean, sorry naman kung parang if it may sound like stereotyping. Pero siguro I looked at it na, oh, it's a big name. Tapos, baga na siya, magta-turn siya. Akala mo mabait, tas biglang siya pala yung masama na tutulong dun sa kalaban, he'll get his comeuppance, ganon.
Yun nga yung nagiging trope eh.
True.
So, I'm glad that they did not do that trope.
True.
Na parang may stunt casting who is, parang is expected to do more. When in fact, he was just the friend who was murdered along the way.
Sayang lang, ini-expect ko, mo yung, na napaisip na ako na it had something to do with timing. Actually, sinasabi na nga din kasi, parang may time, chuchu, ganyan, na nung namatay si Banderas, parang, sobrang bilis lang niya.
Yeah.
Tapos, parang, hindi kaya babalik siya. Ibabalik siya sa may dulo. Tapos parang, wala na lang. Ganun lang siya na wala.
Siguro nang hihinayang lang tayo because we know Banderas' capabilities when it comes to acting and he's a very, parang, charismatic actor.
True. Masabi lang na sumama si Banderas in Indiana Jones movie. A feather in his cap.
We wanted to see more out of him. He was, I guess, underutilized. And it could have been a no-name actor because wala namang parang significance dun sa overall story arc yung appearance ni Banderas.
Oo.
Pero ayun nga it was a trope that we expected. And sinubvert niya yung expectations natin.
Oh my God. My expectations were subverted. Oh my God. Speaking of Helena Shaw, kanina pa natin siya binabanggit.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is, in my opinion, an excellent addition. Ang galing niyang parang foil ni Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Yung kung gaano ka curmudgeon, kung gaano ka parang Carl from Up, yung attitude ni Harrison Ford ngayon.
Very angry old man.
Angry old man. Oo. Parang nakahanap siya ng katapat niya na sassy young woman na doesn't take shit from him at all.
And who is also a capable archaeologist.
Oo. Yun nga lang na ginagamit niya for profit, not for knowledge. Pero yun na nga, sabi mo kanina na it wasn't her choice. It wasn't parang siguro it wasn't about Baz. It wasn't about Baz and how he deteriorated or something like that.
Yeah.
Pero just dahil yun lang, gusto niyang pagkakitaan yung yung archaeology.
And nothing bad about that.
True.
Diba? It happens. There's a black market for art and relics. Even today.
Not that we're condoning it. This is not
pero that industry,
an endorsement
it
of
happens.
It. Yes. Yes, it's there. Yun lang. Disclaimer lang. We're not endorsing.
Not all explorers are heroes or parang for the history or for Kumbaga meron ding dark underbelly ang archaeology
Yan. Tama. Pero ikaw yung mas familiar dun sa sa previous work niya. Ako ang pagkakakilanlan ko kay Phoebe Waller-Bridge is isa siya sa mga writers ng No Time to Die, yung last James Bond film ni Daniel Craig. And ikaw ba, from watching her on Fleabag, ikaw yung mas familiar dun sa style of acting niya eh. Kasi yung last na napanood kong scene niya actually did not include her face at all. Yung solo. Siya yung voice nung robot co-pilot ni Lando Calrissian.
Actually, what you see is what you get. Ganon din naman siya mag-act dun sa mga shows niya eh. Like, she created and wrote and starred dun sa Fleabag, which is very awarded during its run. And, ayun, natapos lang din siya. I think that was just 3 seasons. 3 seasons lang.
And hindi pa siya yung 3 seasons ata na parang pinahaba niya talaga. Meron siyang kwento na kinuwento and she chose to end it on her terms.
Oo. Ayun. Yun lang naman yung very distinct element dun sa Fleabag is she breaks the fourth wall.
Yan.
And very irreverent yung style ng comedy niya. And sometimes crass. Kasi you get a lot of cuss words from her. And if you see Fleabag, you will know. I don't wanna ruin it for people who haven't seen it.
Sige.
So, yun nga. It's very sassy, very irreverent, and fourth wall breaking. That's her style.
And yung, as somebody who's seen it, can you attest to how much quote-unquote Fleabag we got from her dito sa Indiana Jones 5?
Well, not really naman. Actually, hindi ko nga ina-expect na she can be a blockbuster kind of actress eh. Kasi all of her works are very under the radar. Tapos, very British style of comedy or storytelling.
Super dry humor.
Dry humor, yes. Pero, ayun, this is the first time I saw her na talagang doing action, running, and driving motorcycles, and it's a surprise to see her like this out of her comfort zone.
True. So, the movie, we actually haven't touched upon this earlier. The movie is directed by James Mangold, who directed yung last 2 solo Wolverine movies, yung The Wolverine and Logan. Meron siyang style na sobrang gritty. Usually in the movies he makes. As far as I can say, pero dito, I wasn't able to see siguro yung signature niya shine.
It felt like a J.J. Abrams.
And I would say na J.J. Abrams, it felt like a J.J. Abrams movie in the sense that it was a movie by committee. Na siya, parang meron ng kwentong in place.
Yes.
Meron ng set pieces in place. Meron na lang kailangan magkompas.
Actually, I like the set piece in Tangier.
Yung
chase.
car chase. Grabe yun.
Ang haba nun.
Maliban dun sa haba, yung pati yung hindi ko ina-expect yung level of brutality ng ibang mga
It reminded me of John Wick 4
parang,
na chase.
Grabe may isang nag-stick sa akin dun na moment na yung nagulungan na henchman. Pero hindi siya yung parang simpleng gulong lang na yung sa sine na parang speed bump ganun. As in talagang kita mo for a split second yung pagka-mangle nung katawan niya. Talagang kita mo parang, wow, shit, ang brutal nun.
Akong gusto kong part yung yung parang tuk-tuk sila. Tapos merong isang naka-motorcycle yata or basta nasa labas na henchman na natusok siya nung parang mga wood.
Ay, gabi.
Para siyang na-skewer ng mga wood na na yon, pointed.
So gnarly.
Parang Final Destination.
Kung rated R to, kitang mo na tusok yung mga bamboo na yun sa mukha. Nakaganon talaga yung...
There wasn't enough blood. But it was brutal.
Hindi siya, no? Siyempre, mass appeal to eh. Kailangan PG-13 pa rin. Pero hindi siya
Is
naging...
Is it PG-13?
Alam ko,
sa MTRCB?
Alam ko sa atin PG. Siyempre kasi, as big an audience as they can get.
Mm-hmm.
Pero sa States, alam ko, all the movies are PG-13 movies. And as far as I also know, they're one of the few PG-13 movies that really push the boundaries of what their PG-13 is. Kasi, kaya ako sinabi na parang hindi siya naging yung parang PG-13 na brutal, na parang Temple of Doom. And I highly recommend that we watch that.
Mm-hmm. Kasi
talagang, if you thought that moment was gnarly, Temple of Doom is an entire movie na very, very gnarly. Yung may moment nga doon na parang sinabi kanina doon sa Indiana Jones 5, may sinabi Indy na, I drank the blood of Kalkan, ba yun?
Who?
Basta, yung sinasabi na I drank the blood something. Doon sa ano yun eh, sa Indiana Jones 2. And
I have not seen that.
Yun na nga, sobra niyang brutal. Kung brutal na to, ng konti, yun, non-stop na brutal yung scene na yun talaga. And it pushed what PG-13 is defined as. O borderline rated R na siya. Talaga.
Mm-hmm.
So yun. Ano pa bang? May nakakalimutan pa ba tayo about this movie?
I think that's it.
Oo. I mean, for all its faults, and its parang, I wouldn't say shortcomings. Kasi, I'm not going to stand on a high horse and say na, movies made by committee are automatically bad. Or automatically parang they don't deserve our respect or even adulation. Pero I can say that I had a good time. I didn't find it parang boring or by the numbers. It was fun. Ang pinaka-importante pa nga dun was Harrison Ford was game.
Yeah, and batak pa din siya, ha?
Oh, grabe yun. Lolo.
Nag-topless si Lolo.
merong
Pero, wag ka. Oh, diba? Nag-workout.
Yung akala mong sa Marvel na yung mga...
Glow up, diba?
Oo. Diba yung pag Marvel na bida, laging merong shirtless.
You would be ashamed. You would be shamed by Harrison Ford specs.
Grabe. Talagang masel pa rin.
Oo.
Even at 80 years old.
80? Grabe.
80.
At nag-action pa din siya, ha?
Oo. As in, at kita mo, may difference doon sa acting niya dito. Doon sa acting niya sa Force Awakens. Ang laki.
Pero I'm gonna have to acknowledge this detail na talagang medyo it took me out.
What's that?
Yung flashback, yung 1945.
Yes. Sige, sorry, go. Okay.
The CGI. It felt like a cutscene from a video game. Para akong nanonood ng Uncharted cutscene.
Tama.
Hindi siya ganun ka-smooth.
Merong uncanny valley na phenomenon dun sa CGI na ginamit dun sa first 20 minutes or so.
The eyes talaga eh. Yung eyes talaga yung nakakapag-tell eh. Especially kapag ka cut to other characters, nakausap niya. Cut to his face and then the other actor. Kita mo talaga yung difference sa lighting, dun sa rendering.
Ako sa akin yung uncanny valley giveaway niya, yung lips. Yung pag magsasalita, di ba pag magsasalita ang tao ng normal, may, ano bang pwedeng term doon? Yung may snap. Pag gumagalaw yung lips ko ngayon, meron siyang deliberate snap when my mouth moves.
Mm-hmm.
Di ba ganon? Pero pag nagsasalita yung, yung parang 3D na
CGI
niya, the aged na face, baka siyang, Ang smooth masyado nung galaw ng lips. No?
Basta there's something na talagang medyo unsettling. I didn't buy it.
Oo.
It's not like Samuel L. Jackson sa first Marvel movie. The Captain Marvel. Sorry. Na talagang you would forget na that was a de-aged Samuel L. Jackson sa sobrang smooth and linis ng CGI. I think that's still the best I've seen na de-aged.
Oo, actually. Ang i-compare ko dito sa de-aging ni Harrison Ford ngayon is actually hindi nga de-aged yung comparison na sabihin ko Resurrection of the Dead. Naalala mo yung si Peter Cushing sa Rogue One?
Oo.
Yung ginamit siya doon na Grand Moff Tarkin na ilang dekada na siyang patay pero ginamit siya. Yun, ang weird pa rin. Rogue One is one of the greatest Star Wars movies ever. Pero every time lalabas si Grand Moff Tarkin doon, sobrang, what is this CGI?
It takes you out of the story.
True. Yan, yun yung mapipintas natin sa Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. The CGI was borderline.
Was mediocre. Hindi siya ganun kalinis.
De-aging, hindi malinis. The reason why is a topic for another time.
Pero I'm glad na maliit lang siyang portion ng movie.
Oo.
Although it's the beginning. So parang medyo, okay, sige, let's work with the CGI.
Kaya nga, tama ka nga na hindi na nga siya ginamit at all. Yun, good. Sorry, going back lang, mabilisan lang, yung isa pang gnarly moment doon, yung fight scene sa train ni Harrison Ford at saka ni Mads Mikkelsen. Yung pagtama ni Mads Mikkelsen dun sa parang signal bar.
Oo nga. Actually, I was expecting na dapat medyo, medyo dapat deformed yung mukha niya or may naputol na something sa kanya dun sa sobrang lakas nung pag-hit niya ng bakal na yun. Diba?
Parang John Wick na hinagis mo na sa building.
He lived unscathed.
Well, I mean, si John Wick is thrown off a building 4 stories up.
Well, he cut his finger and nag-follow naman yun the movies, the succeeding movies. Putol pa rin yung daliri niya.
True.
Anyway,
sige, anything else na gusto mo idagdag?
Well, for now, I think yung pinaka-last scene niya na parang nakahang yung hat ni Indiana Jones and then before mag-close in yung
yung parang fade-out circle.
Biglang ginrab niya ulit yung hat which means na there's gonna be more indie adventures.
Tama na, please.
Kung kaya pa niya, why not, diba?
Tama na. Pahinga ka na. Tama na.
It's gonna live to be,
yun na nga
a 90-year-old Indiana Jones.
Oh my God, please. Tama na. I mean, kahit yung idea na ipasa yung quote-unquote franchise kay Phoebe Waller-Bridge, as much as she was great in the movie, I can't imagine anyone else leading this franchise but Harrison Ford, and he's given it his all.
Even in the movie, he already retired.
Diba?
May retirement party nga siya?
Exactly. Very meta moment.
Let the man retire.
Tama. Just let him rest. So, ako, it's a recommendation from me.
It's still a fun popcorn movie, especially if you want to introduce new blood sa mga archaeology films, adventure films like that. And then, let them watch The Mummy, National Treasure.
Or even yung mga previous na Indiana Jones pa din.
Yes, diba? Yes. Classic pa din siya.
Classics pa din siya.
So, yes, it's a fun watch. Yes. And good job in Harrison Ford. Grabe. Saludo kami sa iyo, Lo.
Grabe, 80 years old at kaya mas physically fit pa siya sa atin. Diyos ko Mariosep.
Sorry na. Sana all nakakapagbatak pa din parang si Harrison Ford.
True.
Anyway, So yeah, that's it.
I guess that's it for episode 1 of the Cine Geeks podcast.
Thank you guys for listening.
Yes, hopefully what's on our radar soon, meron tayong Barbie in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible, the new one.
July, maraming movies.
Daming maganda.
And we're also doing TV shows. Like our favorite sci-fi shows, Strange New Worlds is on season 2.
Star Trek, Strange New Worlds.
Star Trek, Strange New Worlds. Also Marvel, Secret Invasion.
Secret Invasion, yun pa. Basta madaming sabay-sabay ngayong lalabasan. So, expect to hear more from us about these upcoming movies and TV shows.
Of course, if you have any recommendations for us to watch, we're open to your suggestions. Like what movie or what TV show should we talk about next?
Just send us a message on Facebook and we'll try to heed your recommendations.
And of course, if you've seen Indiana Jones Dial of Destiny, you can share what you thought about the movie in the comment section.
That's right.
And that's a wrap, folks. Thank you all for tuning into our very, very first episode of Cine Geeks. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. We release new content every Friday. So, this has been your host, Angela.
And Roy.
Until then, keep watching and keep geeking out.
Bye.
Bye.